In part 6, we start the day by driving straight to Christchurch. The next morning, we take a tour of Christchurch and see the cardboard cathedral. We make our way to Lake Tekapo and then to Lake Pukaki and get close to Mount Cook for some pics. We stop at Lindiss Pass and Roaring Meg Power Station and see some ziplining. We left Kaikoura in the late morning and we drove straight to Christchurch along the coast, with the South Pacific Ocean to our left. We passed through several short tunnels along the way. Along the way, we passed this huge sculpture which is known as the Fanfare, created by New Zealand sculptor Francis Neil Dawson. It was created in 2005 and installed in this location in 2015. It's a huge metal spear with pinwheels all over it. We arrived at the Haka Lodge, which is located across the street from the old Canterbury College campus, built in the mid to late 1800s. It has now been split into several independent buildings and businesses as shown here. The buildings are generally built of grey basalt with limestone facings. Adjacent the Haka Lodge are some old homes probably built around the turn of the century. At night, we went to have dinner at the Riverside Market and we passed by the Bridge of Remembrance Memorial. The next morning, we met our new team member Alana and embarked on a walk through Christchurch, with Snowy giving us a commentary on points of interest. This building is known as the Cardboard Cathedral. The Cardboard Cathedral was built to replace the Christchurch Cathedral. In this image, you can see 4 of the 8 shipping containers that were used to create the walls for this cathedral. The original cathedral was significantly damaged in the 2011 earthquake. This building was designed by Japanese architect Shigeru Ban and opened in August 2013. The A-frame style building rises 79 feet high and it incorporates 96 cardboard tubes weighing 1,100 pounds each. They sit atop 20-foot long shipping containers as shown earlier.
They only go there because the tower means people come to Christchurch because our church is made out of cardboard. Are they? And the other reason is to learn how to play rugby.
The building utilizes triangular pieces of stained glass to form the sectionalized window over the main entrance. Each of the 96 cardboard tubes are reinforced with laminated wood beams and are 24 inches in diameter. The roof is polycarbonate panels and 8 steel shipping containers form the main exterior walls. This is the pulpit area. You can see the significant use of cardboard tubes all over the interior of this building. The tubes vary in diameter based on their length and usage. This is a copper model of the cathedral in the main square that was damaged in the quake. This image shows the cardboard cathedral and the location of the cathedral TV building, which completely collapsed during the quake of 2011. Sadly, 115 people lost their lives. We visited the memorial site and I felt kind of somber and a little uneasy walking around this area, thinking that I might be walking over a spot where an unfortunate deceased person might have been found. Near the CTV Memorial site is a small segment of the Berlin Wall. We continued our walk, seeing interesting building architecture all around us, and many sites under reconstruction, as well as some sites that had been cleared of debris but construction had not yet started. Christchurch is crisscrossed with trams providing rides to various locations around the city. This sculpture is known as the Chalice and was created by Francis Neil Dawson, the same guy who created the fanfare sculpture. There are also some beautiful murals showing the local flora and fauna in New Zealand. This beautiful building is the O Tautahi Christchurch Eyesight Visitor Information Centre. This is a statue of John Robert Godley in front of the cathedral. Godley is considered to be the founder of the city of Canterbury, although he only lived there for 2 years. This is the Christchurch Cathedral, fenced off while extensive reconstruction takes place. This area is the geographic center of Christchurch. Construction of the original cathedral began in 1864. This is what the cathedral looked like prior to the earthquake, and this is what it looked like right after, and this is what it will look like after reconstruction is completed. This is the Soldiers' War Memorial located adjacent the cathedral. This beautiful mural is located on the south wall of the Novotel Hotel. It signifies Christchurch as a gateway city to the Antarctic. As we head out of Christchurch, we pass another tram taking passengers for sightseeing or to work perhaps. Here we are, arriving at Lake Tekapo. After getting settled into our room, I decided to take a tour of the lake. It was really calm and peaceful walking around and seeing the almost mirror-like reflections in the lake. This is Mount John. We climbed this mountain later in the evening, but I only made it halfway up because I didn't have enough coal with me and I ran out of steam halfway up. There is an observatory at the top. Lake Tekapo is the second largest of 3 roughly parallel lakes running north-south in the Mackenzie Basin. Lake Pukaki and Lake Ohau make up the trio. This lake covers an area of 32 square miles and is at an altitude of 2,330 feet above sea level. I saw this woman sitting on the edge of the lake all by herself, and I thought it just made for a really nice image. In the bottom left, you can see the visitor center, which has a hot spring and an ice rink. Morton and I continue our trek uphill, getting some nice views of the lake from higher elevations. This is the Church of the Good Shepherd, built in 1935. It is one of the most photographed churches and features an altar window that frames views of the lake and the mountains. This is the McLaren footbridge. I saw this sign in the kitchen of the lodge where we stayed. It made me laugh. Here you see Bob washing dishes. What? We leave Lake Tekapo behind and make our way to Lake Pukaki. This is Lake Pukaki with Mount Cook in the background. Lake Pukaki is the largest of the three lakes as mentioned before. All three lakes were formed when the terminal moraines of receding glaciers blocked their respective valleys, forming moraine-dammed lakes. Here's a closer look at Mount Cook, known locally as Air Rocky. It is the highest mountain in New Zealand at 12,218 feet. It sits in the Southern Alps, which run the length of the South Island. There are two glaciers nearby, the Tasman Glacier to the east and the smaller Hooker Glacier immediately to its south. There you can see our small group admiring the stunning views of the lake and Mount Cook. This is the Himalayan tahr, a mountain goat-like herbivore, introduced in the early 1900s. Due to a lack of natural predators and ideal conditions, they really prospered and now have become an invasive species. Legalized hunting and conservation controls their numbers. We continue our drive on the west side of Lake Pukaki to get some closer views of Mount Cook. We stopped for a coffee break at a roadside cafe, and I saw this old Ferrari Dino parked across the street. The engine didn't sound like it was in the best of conditions, but it did work, and the elderly couple drove off. As we continue our journey to Queenstown, we pass by some interesting rock formations. We stopped at Lindiss Pass to get some views around this area. Lindiss Pass, at an elevation of 3,185 feet above sea level, is the highest point on the South Island's state highway network. We drive past Lake Dunstan on the way to the town of Cromwell for lunch. There is a large sculpture of some fruit located in the field opposite the market. We passed by some old buildings historically used by miners in this area. Our next short stop was the Roaring Meg Power Station, which was opened in 1939. There is an upper station, and this is the lower station. Total combined annual output is 30 gigawatts. Great Scott! That's enough power to send the DeLorean back to the future. There is a dam 2 miles upriver that controls the flow into this and the upper generation building. The upper station discharges into both a pipe feeding the lower station and the roaring Meg stream. This station discharges directly into the Kawarau River. We saw some people ziplining. It wasn't the longest or the highest, but it sure looked like fun. This is the bungee jump platform. I wasn't able to get to the front to see this woman jump, but I caught her getting picked up at the base and being brought ashore.